The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was
Come on, that's right.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Don't wake me up. Mixed dream and a dream don't touch. I've been taking up.
We're back.
Being shown in a vision, curiosity got me stuck. Yeah.
Can't stop the work.
On the waters, raising up. Raising up. I see crowds.
Come on.
Paving floors. Is it war at the door? I've been searching for it. I can't get it out of my head.
Come on.
The stars are falling down. This tempers upon
We're back. Bless you, bless you.
this goes on and on. I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up.
Come on.
I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up.
We're jumping right in. Hit the like button. That's right. Come on.
I'm at the point understanding dreams are the real time. Please nobody wake me up. I try moving on, but my body is stuck. My conscience is raising, angel pick me up. Awaken from this matrix. Looking down on the globe, blood dripping from his robe. I know he can fix this. I see you burning Rome and our people coming home. Can I please get a witness? Witness, I'm not coming down till I get this. These predictions can't be superstition. The decision being shown in the vision. It just ended.
Woo! Be it. Oh, man. Hey, son, you killed that. That's right, man. Oh, that's right. I see a burning Rome and our people coming home. Check out what this generation is talking about. But I digress. We're going to jump right in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We back from a week hiatus from, that's right, we had a strike on the channel. We're going to try our best to just stay general with this. We don't make any attacks. As a matter of fact, I believe that we were following some of the guidelines, or all of the guidelines, until a new thing came up where you cannot say certain things. I think it's ambiguous. You can't have an opinion that can somehow cast darkness on a respected personality, or however it's framed. I know that it was an Academy video that AC uploaded from the Academy, where usually we can speak freely and use freedom of speech, but YouTube is a whole nother animal, right? And it was something about giving our opinion on Bill Gates and some other thing, the Epstein, whatever that case might be. It was in the news, so we talked about it. Excuse me. We discussed it because it was something in the news, right? But somehow they said that the church and myself bullied Gates or whatever. I don't know. But I don't bully anyone. We bring forth the information and give our perspective. Not, and our perspective is solely from a religious standpoint, right? We have a right, educational-wise and religious-wise, to give our opinion on something that's infringing on our religious rights, on our sovereignty as what? People of God. If there's something out there that's negative, right? Attack our way of life against the Bible, and it's progressive. Now, we can't talk about it. I mean, suppose hypothetically this Antichrist, Satan, that the Christians are talking about. Suppose there was an Antichrist out there doing bad stuff. Would they be politically protected and censor those who can point out the Antichrist? Is that where we are? Yeah, but I digress. You know. So I'm gonna keep it general, and we'll discuss serious scenarios where, you know, on other platforms, uncensored. Okay, we have to understand the rules change all the time here, but we'll keep things general until we get on Patreon tomorrow and or in our academy this coming Sunday. But jumping right into it, folks, and check it out. Already we are up to almost 1,000 people. Hit the like button. Almost up to 1,000 in a couple of seconds, and we was up to what, 600? But I digress. That's why they want to stop this, folks. And let me tell you this before I pick up from where I left off. Let me state this. Usually, if someone gets a strike, it puts you under like a 3-month probation where if something happens, you know, between that 3 months, you know, either you get another strike, you know, whatever, you'll go into some type of purgatory or quote unquote lose a channel or whatever the case might be. So usually when we get struck over something I never understand, right, where it's some new rule or whatever, it's within that 3 months, something is going to usually come down the pipeline that, you know, that's a biblical proportion. Something is about to happen where the world powers, whoever they might be, don't want us to say something within that time period. So keep your eye on this, folks. If something big happens within the next 3 months where if we were to mention it, it leads to some type of digital or cyber reprimand. No, I told y'all this first. They didn't want us to, they wanted our channel to be under some level of censorship, not to speak out at a key time within the political paradigm. Remember, I said that. But I digress. Elder Lawyer, we're short on time, so I'm going to jump right in.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to jump right in, Elder Lawyer. Elder Lawyer is in the house. Elder Lawyer's in the house. Let me pull him up here. He's in the house, right? So let me go back here, pull in Elder Lawyer. Of course, the applause was for him, but it's there again. Let's jump right in. Our topic, the degeneracy at the end of the rainbow. Like I mentioned earlier, brothers and sisters, for those who were following us a couple of moments ago from the other channel, right? From the other scenario that I was talking about, that when it comes to the degeneracy that's being pushed in our society today, they didn't just pick any flag. They picked something that had spiritual value, an agreement between what? The righteous and God after destroying the wicked in the flood. Right? So in Genesis 9, it reads, "And I will establish my covenant with you, neither shall all flesh be cut off anymore." I'm in Genesis 9 and 11. "By the waters of flood, neither shall there be any more a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is a token. This is the token of the covenant, which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set my bow." Here is the true biblical purpose for the rainbow, folks. "I do set my bow in the cloud. It shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. Covenant, folks, is agreement. They could have used anything to represent their cause. Why choose this? Some would say from the biblical side of this that it was to mock the God who destroyed their fathers, the evil demons and the fallen gods, the Nephilim, who sought to destroy all that was right on earth, and they're purposely mocking the God who judged their fathers. And now we're living in a world of degeneracy. How can we dig out of this? Is it possible? Acts, the second chapter, in the 40th verse says that we must now save ourselves from this untoward generation. What if, elder lawyer, what if the world is too far gone? Check out this. This was being recorded by a brother at a pride parade. And listen to what it says. Listen to what it says. To brag is not a crime. There go the rainbow. It's supposed to be a token between our God and the righteous. Listen to this. Listen to this again. Now, the majority is saying, I'm here, I'm queer. I'm not going to stop it. But that's not the worst of it. Listen to this guy in the parade real quick. I'm coming for your children. I'm here, I'm queer. And what did he say? I'm coming for your children.
Wow.
And they switched the cadence to what he switched it to. Let's do it again. Israel, stand up.
Wow.
And they say, we're not going to stop it. You can forget about it. The more fuel, financing, and political sachet they get from the powers that be, the more they'll desire to finish the work they couldn't do before the flood. And I'm speaking of not just the people here. The people are one thing. Folks, it will scare the bejesus out of you if you could look in the spiritual world to actually view the dark, demonic haze that follows them. Folks, and Elder Lawyer, I want you to hear it because I think Elder Lawyer sent it to me initially. No, Anya sent it to me. I have one that Elder Lawyer sent to me. I'm going to pull that up in a moment. Please hit the like button. But I want Elder Lawyer to hear this. Check it out, Elder Lawyer. Why, Elder Lawyer, why are they so confident? Why are they confident that to a degree where they can just outright say it with no pushback? their intentions, not for their own bodies or others they parent, but for the intentions of our children. Why? How can they be so brazen without believing there's any recourse or consequence? I need you to really think about that. Usually, if you're threatening publicly to assail or to violate someone's seed, that comes with a consequence. I mean, can you imagine a black man who's straight walking down the street threatening to do something to actually execute your sexuality or your person on a child? Can you imagine a straight man of any persuasion, black, white, or anything, with 100 people marching down the street stating their intentions to actually come after someone else's children? No, just to say it is criminal. Why do you think, Elder Lawyer, that they feel emboldened to a degree that they can state these things without any pushback? Your opinion before I go to the next one.
That's a very good question. I think at the root of it, as the Bible says, I don't think it's any coincidence that they refer to themselves as pride, or one of the adjectives they use to refer to themselves is pride, or nouns. And the Bible says the pride of their heart have deceived them. They've gone so far into this mindset that I don't think that they, number one, think that this is, they don't think that it's wrong to march down the street scantily clad, provocatively, to say that they're going to come for people's children. And I think they understand that where things are going society-wise, legally, things are going into a way in which they will have open access to children with no recourse. So I think that's just where things have gone and where the society has come.
I agree on one part, but I have to do a little pushback from the first one where they don't realize they're wrong. They're doing it because they know they're wrong. But they also have a political machine. I mean, you're talking about an open coffer of finances, a political machine with the whole army behind them. They know that what? In America, they are the untouchables. They are the untouchables. Now people are starting to push back, and you know what they're doing? They're doubling down. And I'm going to tell you why they're emboldened, Lawyer. Because as far as America goes, they have already won. They have already won. And I'm going to show the statistics and some videos right here. They have won. I'm going to show you, without them being in anyone's home, they have effectively morphed within, intertwined themselves within everyday culture and we're the biggest, believe it or not. I would say we're under the gun more so than any other people, because by default they have attached themselves through a civil rights movement. So I believe that they're emboldened because why? They have won. They had a patient political objective that have now been assumed. It's finished. And I'm going to show this. Fair use. Fair use. This is why they are emboldened. Fair use. You sent me this, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Gay baby, it's a gay baby. Gay baby,
Did she say please be what? Be whoever you want to be, but what?
Right?
I can't. Hold up. I
Gay
didn't.
baby. It's a gay baby. Gay baby. Gay baby. It's a gay baby. Gay baby. Gay, gay, gay. Please be gay. Oh. Okay. Be what you want to be, but be gay. Okay? Thank you. Right?
Shame.
No pressure. No pressure, but pressure. Gay baby. It's a gay baby. Gay baby.
I was going to keep it there. I didn't even get to the point initially when you sent this to me, Elder Lawyer, where she said, please be this way. I was so upset seeing it initially that I turned it off. So I believe that they are emboldened with this, understanding that what? They've already won. That slow political objective that started in the 70s, 80s, into the 90s, progressed and moved into 2000s, started in strictly California first, but passing laws that began to get adopted by other states, only to be solidified under Obama. I didn't even get to the end of when she says, please be this way. They've won. Save yourselves from this untoward generation is what the Bible states. Now, I'm going to bring this around full circle because they made us believe that this was a civil rights scenario. But suppose Satanists can somehow tie themselves to a political position and use civil rights as the vehicle to bring forth what? His satanic position of destroying family. Destroying the idea of male, female, a strong male influence, especially amongst our people. Now, this is particularly, lawyer, dangerous for us. Because I'm going to tell you why this is more dangerous for our people, especially blacks in the inner city. Because let me tell you, the white straight man in these red states isn't going to allow no one to assail or get in a position to do what they could do in the inner city to their children, to their family. A matter of fact, I know this, and I know this firsthand. These white men in the red states are gathering together in communities in solidarity for the moment they'll have to defend their families together in their communities against it. How many of these particular meetings are going on within our communities? Say, well, okay, enough is enough. We must oppose this with a family front and do a public proclamation together in the thousands as a community to stifle this agenda against us. That conversation isn't being had, but it's being had in the suburbs. See, these people who still love God or still have some family values according to Christ, as much as they believe in these red states, know when they're in a spiritual war and are doing something about it. Suppose Satanists use a hot button topic politically. Suppose the Satanists use civil rights as their Trojan horse. Well, Shapat brought this out from mainstream news in the academy, and it was so profound. And this, y'all got to get in the academy, folks. The news is like none other. Shapat, he dives into it, okay? But from RT News, here's a report that came from the Academy. Transitioning is religious right, says the Satanic Temple. That it's a religious right, according to the Satanic Temple, for children to transition. And if anyone try to push back against a child choosing to transition from gender, whatever the case is, you are infringing on their civil rights, their religious rights. Why? Because the Baphomet is the symbol of androgyny. So it's part of what? The advocacy organization says, advocacy, check out some of the words, says its ministers are ready to testify in court as expert witnesses. So they don't get some expert witnesses from the Satanic Temple of Satan to come, that's right, in the courts and say, well, listen, I'm in advocacy for this because within our religious realm, right, Satan is both male and female, and therefore we can make a choice to be like our God. The Satanic Temple, a U.S.-based advocacy group operating as a religious organization, has offered to have the priest testify on behalf of the trans TST members that gender affirmation procedures are part of the core tenets of Satanism. That's not me. This is not my opinion or our opinion. This is what their priests are willing to go before the courts with. That it's really about their core tenets. It's what they believe in and are willing to stand for it. And this is why, this is what they're saying, not me. Trans rights have become a hot button political issue in the United States, with conservative politicians pushing for strict limitations in some areas. In April, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives passed a bill that seeks to ban what they say transgender women and girls and competing in female school sports. Liberal opponents call such policies transphobic. Now the temple is chiming in. Let me tell you, man, I'll tell you. It seemed like the Satanist priests, elder lawyer, have more conviction than Christian preachers and priests.
Mm-hmm.
You see this? Who's winning here? You would think that they were the majority. The temple claims to have over 700,000 members worldwide and lists full personal control of one's body as one of its 7 tenets. The organization promotes individual liberty, secularism, and reason. Now, one thing in particular we pulled out, which was from the site of Jewish Learning, is the 8 genders in the Talmud. This is not an opinion. This is something that's actually on the site that we looked into and say, well, okay, there's got to be more to this. So when we look into the ancient sages' understanding of this, right? It says here, and this is something that Elder Shapat brought forth. Please get in that academy. When it comes to spirituality under the learning of the Talmud, that there was something that came out when it comes to gender and sexuality that I think, based on where we are, in having these conversations now, where we are, that we must now look at its ancient origin. Because I think the world is treating this as if it's something that just came up politically within the last 10 or 15 years, elder lawyer. When really, I mean, this blew my mind when Shapat brought this out. That the thought of non-binary gender was a modern concept. And this is what it's saying according to the Jewish Learning site, right? It says, thought non-binary gender was a modern concept? Well, think again. The ancient Jewish understanding of gender was far more nuanced than many assume. The Talmud, a huge and authoritative compendium of legal traditions, contains, in fact, no less than 8 gender designations, including Zakar, which is male, Nekavah, female, androgynous, number 3, having both male and female characteristics. This is what they say is Talmud. Tumtum, the lacking sexual characteristics, like someone who's asexual. Ayanit Hama, identified female at the birth, but later naturally developing male characteristics. This is an old ancient ideology, right? 6 is Elanit, Alam, identified female at birth, but later developing male characteristics through human intervention. Through human intervention, now that means science came into play to help this person along. Ancient thoughts that leads back to when what? The Babylonian eunuchs and others. Okay? The Babylonian sages who had children and all these things who were eunuchs. Not in the biblical sense of eunuchs. I digress. Saras Hama identified male at birth, but later naturally developing female characteristics. Saras Adam identified male at birth and later developing female characteristics through human intervention, right? That and more to show you there will be a human intervention in man that would begin to what? Confuse people, or do what? Help people along to move the gender line where either side can choose what to be, which is an ancient concept, Elder Lawyer. Now, it's something that I'm going to bring out in the academy. I want to talk about this before I go to the next clip. Hit the like button, folks. You want to be here for this. Are they really, in essence, Elder Lawyer, bringing forth the ancient ideologies only to repackage them? They're repackaging it under civil rights and everything else, but really the underbelly is the ancient cross-sexuality pre-flood, what we witness pre-flood with the hermaphrodites and others when the angels came down, when the so-called gods came down to deal with people, right? Could that be they're just bringing that to the forefront, repackaged? Right? Could that be? I'm just going to leave the question out there. But there's something else that, Elder Lawyer, really intrigued me. There was another study, and I'm going to bring it forth. I'm going to talk about this, where through the food and other things, bad eating behaviors, it also feeds into this, right? Check this out, Elder Lawyer. There's a scientific study, that if you can get a male produces testosterone, right? As a male morph or grow past his intended weight of average based on height, the testosterone levels, according to this study, Elder Lawyer, goes down. Less testosterone and more estrogen when a man gets too overweight. And then it began to be seen on the outside where their shape is more so feminine, and they'll even grow what appears to be breasts, right? So if they can push an inordinate diet within our society, it'll also feed into the feminine, lowering the masculinity of a man. Whereas a man grows past his intended average weight, his testosterone go down, and what? His estrogen goes up, and he's more sensitive. Now, it works in the reverse with women. When a woman grows past, based on what's in the food, whatever the case is, allegedly, or whatever, or just bad eating habits with all this other stuff out there, when she grows beyond her average weight per height, right? She grow big, and what happens? Her testosterone levels go up, and her estrogen levels go down, and she becomes what? More abrasive, more challenging, more threatening as a man would be at that weight. This study, folks, from the Harvard University blew me away in lieu of what's being pushed and why they're so brazen to a degree where they can state it, bring it forth with no pushback or threat from society because they've already accomplished the takeover. It's up to us to fight back. And the way we have to fight back by doing the reverse of what they've engineered. We must fight this with everything within us, starting with ourselves, our own body, our own spirit, and protect our children because what? That's who they're coming after. I need y'all to check this out, folks. So it's like from Elder Lawyer, it doesn't matter. From each area, it doesn't matter where we turn, it's there. In every part of our lives. It's in our diet.
Right.
It's what we consume looking at media. Where now, all of a sudden, all of these women are in male positions, dominant positions, and men are being seen as the sensitive buffoons. And all in all, there is a religion who could actually resolve what's going on here today, based on the article I've just put forth. There is a religion out there who could resolve it for us because they knew that there was 8 different genders according to the Talmud that have always existed from the beginning, according to that religious belief. Now, there's no conversation in this piece on whether or not these particular 8 genders are good and or evil. They're just so. They exist. Well, the Bible has something to say about all of this, right? One other thing I wanted to show, Elder Lawyer. While the number of those who are parading are going up, who's going down? Thank you, Shapat, for this. Breitbart. The CDC has a report that 3.7 million births in the U.S. last year, far below replacement level. So while men and women are going against each other, folks, that stubborn spirit on either side is doing what? It's producing less children altogether. And what happens if the majority of families or children coming into the world are raised by just individuals or made up families? That would make what? Even a heterosexual, quote unquote, family no different than if someone of the pride group adopted a child, bringing everyone into the same pool. And so that everyone can have access to that child while you're working. CDC 3.7 million births in the U.S. last year, far below replacement level. So now, while something is on the rise, something is on the decline. Family, children. Folks, degeneracy at the end of the rainbow. And guess what? Hey, they're not going to stop. Because the positions that people are actually moving with, folks, will lead to a point of no return. It has even led quietly, because I'm having conversations, I'm hearing this, and I hope sisters are listening to this too. Men of any worth see that it's a sinking ship and are quietly bowing out, elder lawyer. They're bowing out from the desire to have family. Men aren't going out anymore. Men aren't seeking long-term relationships. Talk to young men now, and they deem relationship and marriage as a con game that was put in place to destroy them. Whether they believe that or not, it's of no consequence. I'm not here to argue whether or not it's right or wrong, but this is what they're thinking. And the only pool of people left are those from the man and woman side who can easily be controlled or ran over by the letter people. But those that have the knowledge of what's happening, this tidal wave of evil that's coming to destroy anything that shows a semblance of a real man or a feminine woman. Let me tell you, these people are saying, you know what? It's too much. There's no defeating this. Save ourselves from this untoward generation. And guess what? Young men, and I'm not talking about just any young men. I'm talking about men of substance are saying, you know what? It's a bad deal. Which was also socially engineered by the same people in the same country, allegedly, possibly. Or at least through the corporate pushing of what? Everything except nuclear family. Less children are being had. There's one thing that I wanted to push out there, Elder Lawyer. We're going to talk about this in the discussion, because this is not a brother saying this. This is a sister, right? And I'm going to show you how this all plays together. This was Satan's plan, man. Check out what this sister say, Elder Lawyer. A brother sent this to me.
What's good, guys? It's your girl Keisha Ariel, and I'm just coming on here to let y'all know that tonight, once again, we are going to be dropping another interesting His and Hers Perspectives podcast. And the topic of discussion tonight is African American men getting their passports, flying out for the sole purpose of finding a wife. Now, of course, tonight you will be hearing my thoughts, opinions regarding this, but I am very interested to know, what are your thoughts? Do you think that is a valid purpose for getting a passport, to go and find a wife in another country? Now, if you guys want to hear what we have to talk about, make sure you have your keep getting this part mixed up. Make sure you're subscribed, and make sure your notifications are on, and join us at 7 p.m. BST over on YouTube.
Now, Elder Lawyer, now if you see this sister, I don't think she'll have a problem getting a husband. She's feminine, agreeable, or whatever the case might be. But it's even to a degree where she's concerned, saying, there's this thing. And I'm going to tell y'all, brothers and sisters, when men have their mind made up, and it's taken decades for men to get here, men begin to move silently and do things for the sake of self-preservation. That's how men have survived since time immemorial. And it's not about a right or wrong. It's looking at all the cards and everything that's on the table and saying, you know what? This is what they're seeing is no hope at the end. at the end of the society they were brought up under. And they're saying, you know what? There are good women, but wives are snatched up immediately. And the pool have been affected by the agendas. So what young men are saying out there is that, no, guess what? You know, there's a world perspective and there's a biblical perspective. Let me get the world's perspective first, then the biblical perspective. The world perspective is, okay, there's women and men in the world who would just mess around. They'll mess around with certain women. But when it comes to settle down with a person that they'll give their name, legacy, and children to, that woman is going to have to be what? Wife material. And that's what men are saying. And they're saying, I've always been a proponent, Elder Lawyer, for the passport. When everyone, I remember talking about passports and people in the neighborhood, in the hood, were saying, what's that? The identification to how the foreigners got into our communities to set up stores. Everyone knew about a passport except us. So I'm a proponent for getting a passport. For someone broadening their horizons to understand there's a world outside of the corporate 5%, which is America, of people. Right? But men are saying, you know what? It's all a bad deal. Brothers in particular. Now, other nations have been doing this for a long time. I traveled throughout the world. I've seen this where white people and others have been traveling to find wives outside of their community for whatever the case is, feminism, the Western world mindset. Right? But now, brothers. Now, if you can get a passport and go to other places and stay for a while, these aren't just, we're not talking about, Elder Lawyer, Pookie and Ray Ray right here. We're talking about people of upward mobility who can make choices that if they do make enough, if they do something to make something of themselves, they're going to get what? They're going to get the equivalent of that in a woman. And some sisters out there are shook with this. Now, some people might ask, why am I bringing this forth in the midst of the degeneracy? Because there is some men out there who want simple lives. And have given up in the Western world. And some people might ask, why? Woo! What is that place, Elder Lawyer, in Ghana that Gocc and Shapat went to? The dungeon place?
Is it, what is it? You talking about the landmark?
Yeah, the landmark that most people go to Ghana, the castle.
I want to say Elmina Castle, if I'm not mistaken.
That's it. It's called the Elmina Castle. The Elmina Castle. Where they had a door, which they was called the door of no return. When you go through this door, you'll never come back, or whatever the case is. The Elmina Castle, where the dungeons are. Exactly. Lord have mercy. I can't even show it. We went from Adam and Eve, the righteous, and we all know they fell, but they repented before death and got things straight and taught their children to do right, to not choose the tree of good and evil. And we have some sisters who travel into the dungeon place at the castle, and they went there to dance. They went there to dance. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to take a lot of sisters standing up and saying, you know what? We're not going for it no more. While it's not all of us, it's too many misrepresenting us. It's too many. It's out of control. And the same way I can look at this and play this, Elder Lawyer, It might not be the majority that's pushing this, but it's too many. And it's to a point where the scripture said that it'll be a time where there's no shame. With the shores of where our forefathers were taken, Deuteronomy 28, into a foreign land to serve our enemy until a time of the awakening. And we're here at the awakening, and this is how that dark part of history is remembered. So, of course, there's some brothers in this world who aren't spiritual at all, who don't believe in God, who are worldly and saying, well, okay, I don't care about this. That's good. But the brothers who want to do right and have family is saying, nah. They've had enough. Because there is no end to this. And here's the example that will go to our daughters. There's no end to this. They think it's a game. And men are saying, you know what? It's okay. If I do accomplish something in this earth, I'm not getting trapped. I'm not getting trapped with this. It's a shame. It's at the point of no return. It's the degeneracy is at the end of the rainbow. And some people think that, Elder Lawyer, Sodom and Gomorrah was just the act of same sex. No, it was the act of degeneracy, be it whether you same sex or straight. So it's time for those who want to do right under God, save yourselves from the untoward generation, because guess what? those who want right is checking out. And it's not about an argument about who's right, who's wrong, man against woman. Those who want to do right is going to pick someone. And they're going to pick someone who meets the standard, especially a man. A man who's about something is going to meet that woman who's going to meet his standard. Period. And I'm talking about someone he's proud enough to give his name to. And women, on the other hand, and it's a shame because they outnumber men, are going to have to do everything they can to separate themselves from the image. Because this image isn't just in America anymore, folks. This image is when you go overseas. And no one is shying away or claiming they are ashamed of this image. What the BET Awards are, what they're seeing with this Doja Cat and another girl that's out with a redhead bush and out there just shaming herself. The Cardi B, Nicki Minaj generation. It's all a part of the degeneracy. The degeneracy of a nation. Now, there's more things. Now, what I'm going to do, especially at the singles round talk, the round talk table will have week 7 in the academy. We're going to do it week 7. I'm going to have what? Each generation and singles at the round table to talk candidly. And it's not going to be about who's right, who's wrong. What is your opinion on society? And what are we doing? What are we doing as an individual to be accountable for our position on earth as children of God, being male or female? It's not about calling out one another, but doing what? Putting it all on the table to say, okay, we can't save this world, but how do we save ourselves in this? What is your outlook? male or female? And then what is your outlook compared to what? Compared to God's position on male and or female. What is your perspective? And what is your perspective put up against what? God's position in our purpose as male and or female. No longer can we use our psychological upbringing and all these others to why we are unfit when it comes to kingdom. Because that's only giving us an out. No. All of us have gone through some level of trauma, but guess what? We are adults. And there's still some accountability, according to God, as an adult concerning our purpose and position when it comes to what he made. In a man and a woman. And guess what? If a man is acting out all sensitive like a woman, guess what? Those who are pushing transgenderism and trans rights and all that and saying there's different agendas, guess what? A man operating out of his nature make everything they're pushing right. That means what they're saying concerning a man turning into a woman, even if you don't have the parts, we are making them right. If a woman is operating outside of her nature, thinking she can challenge a man and always berate a man and argue with the man and always uncooperative, you know what? Even though you are a straight woman, you are saying those who are dealing with the transsexual, the transsexuality type scenarios, that's making them right. You are saying they are correct when male and female could be intertwined through an androgynous symbolic type of way. And it's time that we as men and women prove the devil wrong. That's a man manning up and a woman, that's right, womaning up. Regardless of our past. Elder Lawyer, I'm about to open up the lines.
Yes, sir.
But I have to ask the question. The degeneracy at the end of the rainbow. If you had to put a percentage on it, Elder Lawyer, and I think this is an unfair question because we have the Bible numbers. How many of those in the Western world can make it through this constant agenda to destroy, to stop that's stopping man and woman from coming to an equal consensus? If you had to put a number on it, from 1% to 100%.
1% to 100% as far as how many people would do what?
How many people, Elder Lawyer, that you think can come together and fight and be saved through all of this agenda to destroy, that's stopping man and woman from coming together for self-preservation? If there was a percentage, if there was a number you can put on it. Now, this is going to be one of those we're going to put on a cue card, and we're going to challenge brothers and sisters on either side of the table with a lot of questions, because it means, what are we willing to give up? What are we willing to give up to be who the Most High made? A man and a woman on either side. What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to stand for? Okay, as a man or as a woman. And I'm gonna go there with that submit word. Submit. Women. Submission. Is that a bad word? Submit. That's slavery. What? No. Don't you want a man who submit to God? You can't have it both ways. You can't claim you're waiting on a man to submit to God and you refuse to submit to man. Because that's the example. It's not slavery. It's respect. So we're going to put these on the table, Elder Lawyer. Let's deal with the percentages real quick.
Yes, sir.
How many in America, let's just say America, you think is going to make it out of here by choosing the right path according to purpose? And that's male and female together.
I think the
He's over there sighing. You're sighing right now. But go on.
yeah. I hate to be pessimistic, but the outlook of what we're seeing right now and where society is going, is to the point where you have to ask yourself: are we in the same predicament where Abraham is counseling with the Most High and reasoning with the Most High before the Most High decides to judge Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yeah.
And he asked himself, if there's 10 righteous in the city,
Yeah.
will you not destroy the city for that 10 righteous?
Mm-hmm.
And based on what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, we realized that no, there were not even 10 righteous left that would actually prevent the city from being destroyed. I hate to be that pessimistic. I do believe that there are people who are seeking to do right, but as the scriptures say, that's a very small remnant. So to put a number on it, I would have to say maybe 10%, if that.
Okay. Okay, you're cheating because there's a 10th according to scriptures, but I'm going to let that be. All right. What we're going to do. All right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to the my brothers and sisters in the comment section, and just in good earnest, and then we'll do this through average. If y'all had a number that you believe could be saved based on all the agendas that are getting pushed and how they are celebrating degeneracy in others, on top of that, took Bible out of the school, make it so, claiming it's because of the separation between church and state, and prayer out of the school, but yet transgender studies and all that is a part of colleges, and now they're moving towards making curricula for those of the rainbow. With all of this, and then them coming out outright saying what? It's not about you. It's about what? Let's hear it, and let's hear it good. We're coming for your children. Someone says 30%, right? I'm sorry, the sound, I turned the sound down. Someone said, Elder Lawyer, 30%. That was quite optimistic, right? The majority of this is 1%, 3%, 5%, right? 1/3. Well, folks, Malak, I'm sorry, Yahweh, but 1/3 is 33%. But that's not going to happen because the 1/3 is what's left at the end after the earth has been depopulated to 10%. Only 10% of the earth will be saved. And only 1/3 of us in the wilderness will be saved of the 10% that's left from the earth. So when it says there'll be a third of the Israelites, we're going to be in the wilderness. We're going to be saved in the wilderness eventually. And that's until the rebels rise up and try to come against the righteous like they once did in the wilderness during the time of Moses. Well, that line in the sand is not going to be 50-50. 10% will make it. Only 1/3 of the 10% of Israel who made it out of Babylon will make it. Will walk into Israel. Right? So 2.5%. Wow. Right? We're talking about 3.3%, 7%. So from the consensus lawyer, we're talking about anywhere between 5 and 8% is the consensus amongst those. And thank you for your input, your numbers. And that shows us that what? There's a lot of work we must do as individuals to become that small margin. Right? And that's what that's saying. This is what this saying is more about is if the scarce barely make it, how much more should we be, right, to be included in that small percentage?
Right.
Because a lot of these people walking in the crowd, the Bible tell you that they're reprobate. They have chosen a side a long time ago, and they think they're willing to deal with the judgment. They believe hell is a party. They believe hell is going to be a parade like they're having here. See? Right? That's what they believe. Right? And, they're so brazen, they'll make songs. I'm on the highway to hell. They think they want hell. Okay? But guess what? The Most High, let me tell you, the Most High didn't create hell for us. It was meant as a judgment for the celestial beings who disobeyed from the beginning. Guess what? There's no spirit that can withstand the torment that happens after life. You have to think about this. Think about this and think about this good. Think about a live conscience 24 hours in a day. A conscience that cannot sleep. That's forever tormented. And guess what? Feel all the torments until the judgment, and then after the final judgment, the torment kicks up. Because the only thing you could desire to do in your conscience is to be thrown in the fire, which is a perpetual judgment beyond the judgment for souls who are waiting torment, who are waiting in torment. I need you to think about that. It's unconscionable. It's something that you can't even quantify. None of us can quantify. No one was meant to go to hell, folks. It's not a place that you're there temporal and get a reprieve from. So when they make these songs, I'm on the highway to hell, and you had the Vikings claim that they're going to Valhalla to see their fathers and Odin and all these others. Folks, it's not a party. It's not a party. This is not a party. So I want to hear the opinions of our people. What are we doing? What are we doing? And what are we willing to do to protect our children from the onslaught? Okay? Now, before I transition over through the phone calls, with the phone calls real quick, 515-605-9327, right? There's one other video I wanted to show. And I'll probably show this tomorrow because, I'm up against the time. Where it was a situation where, this brother, it's about 3 different videos where they want to, a man wants to be in his child's life or whatever the case is, but he got the camera and he's being told, nah, you can't see him. Nah, I'm good. You don't have no rights to see this child. And I'm putting this out there because there's this thing out there where that's not being said. There are a lot of scenarios where people are saying, well, men have to step up. And that's true. I will never deny that as so. But then there's another piece. What if a man is stepping up or trying to step up and is being withstood? Where he cannot do anything outside of what? End up getting arrested for trying to be in the child's life. Far too many circumstances in this world, in America, is like that too, and no one is talking about it. All right? So what is a man to do under those circumstances? His children eventually will be turned over, elder lawyer, to strangers. You can't be there 24/7. There's a stranger that's going to come in who doesn't have any spiritual or bloodline ties to the children. And then if you have to work and get busy and do things to keep a roof over your house, and you got to go out and have time to yourself too, you can only expose the children, male, even worse, even females, your daughters, to even more exposure to be violated by strangers. So we're in a pickle right now. And this pickle has been socially engineered. This was constructed to destroy us. So it's at a point now where what? This is on the trajectory to hell, right? And how many of us are going to save ourselves from the untoward generation? You got a lot of brothers now with upward mobility are saying, you know what? I'm getting my passports and I want out. I want out. You got a lot of brothers saying, I know there's good women, but usually good women are snatched up quickly. That they're going into other countries where women are actually raised to be wives. And that's not a slight on those who are raised to be wives in the Western world, but they're far in between with what's being engineered in these cities. And I'm going to tell you, and this is not, elder lawyer, this is not just a black problem. This is not just a black problem. You have many people are saying, you know what? They're going into these other countries, you know, that'll get women who just want to be women. And all that's going to be left are these men running around here who don't care about anything, right? It's going to be a pool of those who are what? Waiting to be destroyed anyway. So brothers and sisters, it's time for us to assume our positions and our purpose according to God and save ourselves. It's time. It's time. And for those who missed it earlier, it's time for men to set a standard according to God by standing in as men of God. And then once you are meeting that expectation, you are now to get someone who can help meet that expectation in full submission. And it's time for women to say, you know what? I don't care what the images are and the examples that are out there. That doesn't what? That doesn't affect me because I know that what they're promoting isn't me. I'm not here to prove to the world I'm not these people, this negative that's being promoted, but what I can do on my own laurels at my own time is to show forth to my God and those around me that what? I'm in a position to submit to God and to my man in total cooperation according to the purpose that was made for female. I don't care if the world has given me a bad image. I have the full power to present myself as God made me. And that's what time it is. Let's do it. Let's do it now. Let's talk. And we'll leave it open if you want other things to talk about. But we're here talking about the degeneracy at the end of the rainbow. 515-605-9327. Let me see if, hold on, let me look and make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure. Hold on. Oh, here we are. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Elder Ramar, holding the line. Okay, we still have some time on there. So 515-605-9327. What say you? Come on in. Let's talk about it. We're at the end of the rainbow, and you hear what they're saying. We're here. We're queer. That's what they're saying. And we're coming for your children. Hey. Elder lawyer years ago. I mean, I said it on the streets, and I said it in many academies and lessons. It won't be too long. It won't be too long before they're at our doors like they were during the time of Lot and say, give me everyone in that house. And look, are we not here?
Right.
Are we not here? Folks, they're not going to stop. It's not about them. It's not about them being bullied and all this stuff anymore. They don't care about that. They were just doing that to keep us on the defense. The bully narrative. But now we're seeing the true objective. Marriage have now been redefined, and the agendas through the corporation have pushed marriage to a degree where it's a bad deal that no men want to be involved in the Western world. And then they did everything to try to show women in a degenerate state where men now can't trust women, or at least cannot trust her to take his name and have his children under his name. This is what they've done. They've built a non-trust system for men and women so that now it's not about just falling in love with somebody and caring for somebody, bringing forth a legacy. The defense is up on either side. Men don't trust women and vice versa. How do we get here? We've been socially engineered here. This was Satan's plan since the garden by first separating Adam and Eve by presenting something to her that would give her the advantage over Adam. So while I love education, I love intelligence, I love more information, I celebrate education. But the way it's being promoted in our society, no one cannot use that as a caveat or some type of accomplishment. When I hear like women are the most educated and all these others, because I understand it's being used as leverage to stifle the man. And unless men stand up, because guess what? They're not worried about, what the resistance they can get through women. They need the men to walk away so that they'll have easy access without resistance. This is how they've always waged war, to get the men out of the way, to re-engineer and to take over the women and to re-engineer a new generation through their children. And this is why I stand up and say, and I say it over and over again, education is being used when when you're using it as leverage, as a point of an accomplishment to now compare yourselves with a man. This is why I shun that thought process, and I shun that thought process, and this is why. Eve had the higher education before Adam. Her eyes were open. She knew everything. So what do you think Satan is going to do? He's going to push an agenda where the woman will be more educated than the man, so that now, that's right, the whole system can be moved through the control of her. Now, it's not about being right or wrong. I love an education. An educated woman is fine. I mean, guess what? She can help meet you finish something if she have the knowledge, the intellect, and the education to do so. It's up to men to level set things and say, listen, your education is not about that. Your education only matters if I can use it for me. Can we make a deal? Are you willing to take all your education and submit all your learning under me so that we can finish this, make a family, and protect it? Not just on earth, but with the hedge of God under the divine order. So I'll be the last. Listen, I would never say a woman shouldn't get education and all that, but it's wrong when it's weaponized. And that's what has happened in our society. It's wrong when it's weaponized, when someone is using it as leverage. Okay? When men are educated or men get education, guess what? Men aren't getting education for nothing other than what? That's right, finances. To be able to provide. I don't know no man anywhere in college or when I went to school, when others went to school, said, you know what? I'm going to get this education so I can have leverage with a woman over a woman. It's all about being able to what? Acquire the knowledge for a profession, to make ends meet, to make money, to provide for family. That's only been the thought for education for the majority of men I've known. It's time for us to level set that. And I'm going to talk about that, folks, in that roundtable discussion, because the debt is it's through the roof. And sisters, I need y'all to hear this. When you get the education, at the end of the day, if you're going to have a family, you're looking for a man who's going to actually be able to pay off your debt anyway. This is why you can't go for a lower standard, because you're coming in the door with debt. And it's okay. There's men who are willing to take on that debt and say, listen, men been paying off women debt for a long time. Willing to take on that debt and say, you know what, I'll pay for it. That's how much you mean to me. But it comes with a trade-off. It comes with what? Respect. It comes with respect. It comes with appreciation. Because a man wouldn't mind paying off a woman everything and making sure she's okay. But only to get disrespected? No. So it's time for us to level set this. Education is good, but we can't be weaponizing it to say, well, to change expectations because I got a certificate. No, your expectation is to submit. A man is to submit to God regardless of his educational levels and his accomplishment. And guess what? The same with women. Regardless of your accomplishments, the order is, here's the order: God, Christ, man. Man have two to submit to: God and Christ. Women have three to submit to: God, Christ, man. Children, until the age of reason and accountability, have four to submit to: God, Christ, Father, Mother. That's the divine order. You can get with this, or you can get with. So what you want? 515-605-9327. What say you? Elder Lawyer, 1 second. Let me pull it up. You don't have to go anywhere. I can call. We're only going to do about 30 minutes of calls today and break out early. I'm so glad to be at here, A Gathering 144. Please continue to support the channel. You know we're under a shadow ban. Constant censorships, and you can see why they're censoring us, folks. We got 2 feet in. That's right. Guess what? We're in the ring fighting. I mean, lawyer, they even claimed, they struck our channel with this new guideline claiming that I think that they said I bullied Bill Gates. Cyberbully. I'm like, what? I'm like, listen, I'm just giving my religious perspective on real-time news. I don't have nothing against anyone personally. I'm a child of God just trying to, make some sense of all this. And if someone has influence and power, guess what? I should chime in with a biblical perspective on whether or not I agree or disagree with it. But obviously, those days are done. I respect all people, in their accomplishments. I have nothing against no one in particular, but if something is infringing on my religious right, and you're bringing, and anyone out there bringing agendas that God said is prophetic concerning a mark of the beast type of deal, you mean to tell me that they're putting laws in place and censorship within some of these so-called platforms where we can't, if they have the mark of the beast, I'll get struck, I'll get a strike by saying, hey, this is the mark of the beast. Yet I digress. But it's their rules, their platform, and I'll follow them. But that was a new rule I didn't even know existed. Who knows? I just hope what's going on is then people not looking at videos and then saying, okay, let's make a rule. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. 515-605-9327. I need y'all support, brothers and sisters, because guess what? They doing everything to try to slow this up. Everything. And you know what? We're not going nowhere. Now, the other part of the cadence, they can have that. But 515-605-9327. Sisters, we have to do better too. We have to do better. You can't be at Mino Castle, at Mino Castle with and think you can upload something like this. We at the castle where our foreparents were taken as slaves into the Western world, the transatlantic slave trade, and start and looking back doing God knows what. You can't. Y'all have to stop this. This is ungodly. It isn't funny. I don't know what's worse, that they did this at the castle where we were enslaved, or what's worse, that they did it, or the fact that someone thought to film it and put and upload it. Well, man, let me tell you, where would world star hip hop be without our people, Elder Lawyer?
Right.
Out of business. Out of business. Hold on, let me call in. Out of business. And I'm saying, well, hold up, man. Okay, I can understand people talk about the white man and Willie Lynch, Elder Lawyer, and this, that, and the other. But I have a point to make on that, Elder Lawyer. If you know that we are the product of social engineering or Willie Lynch, why perpetuate what you know was created to destroy us? So we can't even use that as an excuse, because if you are adult enough to understand that the Willie Lynch thing happened, you should be knowledgeable enough as an adult to say, okay, if they programmed us to be contrary to nature, and I have the knowledge of what the programmings were, I also have the power not to be what they created, or to at least fight against it, or seek to change the programming in myself. So I don't want to hear this thing about what the white man has done and what Willie Lynch did. Because guess what? Unless you're willing to change and not be what they actually engineered, we're just talking in circles. Yeah, I'm just going to be disagreeable and combative because Willie Lynch, the white man. (515-605-9327). Again, I'm sorry. Sometimes, as the Spirit give me, give me thoughts, I have to bring them out. But it's your time. Let's go. Someone, hey, guess what? Whoever put that on is right on.
Blog Talk Radio.
She was right on.
Welcome to Blog Talk
sister made this
Radio.
comment.
Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
The portion of a wicked woman is given to a wicked man. Exactly.
Unmuted.
Oh, the lawyer, you're going to have to break down to me. You the Hebrew man. You the Hebrew guy, man. And you're going to really have to help me with this. And there's a little sarcasm here with it. But, after each academy, you do the honor of, through requests, giving out Hebrew names to brothers and sisters who desire them.
Right.
And they have to be somewhere written, somewhere on some scrolls or something. What is Pookie and Ray Ray in Hebrew? June and Nug Nug. Okay? Now, the Bible tells us that a man, when a woman sustains a man, she's filled with anger and reproach. Right? Now, that particular man in the ancients would be what we would call our modern day Pookie and Ray Ray. Because women sometimes kick in initially and say, you know what? I'm here to help you get on your feet and help you out. I'm bringing you into my spot, but with the desire for you to one day kick in and get me out of this spot and put us into a home we both can be proud of. That's what a woman is thinking when she's bringing you into a spot. Right? But a man under the demonic Pookie and Ray Ray scenario is saying, man, this is a nice spot. And that's it on that. And see, this is what women are talking about. Right? And here lies the problem, Elder Lawyer. What's the missing component? The missing component ultimately is father. The missing component is it's the father that put a worth, that actually instilled the pride and worth in his daughter. Where she won't settle for nothing less than the expectations he instilled in her. And this is why even Laban was like, listen, Jake. Yeah, all the women love you. You're strong. You're a shepherd. Your God blesses everything you put your hands to. Jacob, you're the man. But I'll tell you what, my daughter's worth 7 years working for me. Okay? He set that from the gate. You can hold hands. Y'all can walk together and sit on the bench together. You know what I mean? You can speak sweet nothings to one another with chaperones, but it's going to be 7 years. Imagine how great those daughters must have thought of themselves, where the father seen that much worth in them. Let me tell you, Pookie, Ray Ray, and Nug Nug don't have a chance against women like that. Straight up. Because the father instilled that worth in the daughter. And it's the mother who does what? Who helped meet that and execute that. That she don't settle for nothing less than the worth her father put in her. And this is what makes Israel worth something. Because it's not us in of ourselves, but it's the worth that God have put in Israel as God's people that makes us worth something in this earth. And without that, we're worthless. So I wanted to put that out there. 515-605-9327. Without our Father, we're worthless. Even when it comes to my sons, I continually tell them, listen, it doesn't matter where you are. That's not good enough. As long as you have life in you, as long as you have life in the Spirit of the Most High, there's more to achieve because life is short. And if you ain't getting everything out of your life, what you doing? Leave a mark. Leave a name. And it's the Father who gives the children the objectives, the purpose. The purpose is to strive for. Let's go. 515-605-9327. Calvin has a situation. No, you can't come in. You cannot come into our broadcasts with situations. No, he has a question. All right, Calvin.
Oh.
Hey, Calvin, I'm just messing with you.
Golden Conley.
How you doing, Calvin? How you doing? Bless you, brother.
How you doing, Elder Ricard and Elder Lawyer? I'm sorry.
Shalom.
Shalom.
My question was, you were just talking about hell just recently on your broadcast. I was just going to ask you the order, the spiritual death, the physical death. Do you go to hell or torment, and then after that, judgment and more torment? Is that what you were saying?
Okay, well, when you go into the 70 scriptures that were hidden, that the Most High told Esdras to hide, I actually have those scriptures, and I'm gonna actually talk about that as far as the idea of hell based on different societies outside of Israelites. This is not just a biblical concept, but even the Gentiles' concept of hell gives some insight to what the Bible's perspectives are. The whole thing is when the Most High made the spirits, because he's eternal, spirits can never die. He existed before time. He created time. So when he created us out of the essence of himself, he made us immortal, at least from a spiritual sense, right? That means we were someplace before we were sent into our parents, and we're someplace after we leave this plane, right? So in Esdras, it breaks down that if you are part of the righteous who have made it, there's a place in paradise in the center of the earth, right? And it's really connected to the heavenly realm, but it's in the earth. The same way the Garden of Eden is a spiritual plane, but when you go through a spiritual door or gate, it's here on earth too, but it's connected to the heavens. The earth is floating in the middle of heaven. Okay? The earth is the center of the face of the deep. It's the center of the universe, not the sun, and it's actually in heaven. It's floating in the middle of heaven. So there's what? There's passages, and that's right, passages as well as chambers and levels to heaven and or hell. Now, I'm going to break this down in the category, but let me quantify this. When our spirits go over, if we showed favor with the Almighty, either side sees a light. And that light, you either go into what? rest and continual quiet until your soul is resurrected on earth when heaven comes here, or you're in torments. There's a chasm in between, a lake of fire that can be seen from either side. Now, on the dark side, which is called hell or Hades, that's where those who disobey God from the beginning are. Starting with the fallen angels who are called gods. 200 of them came down during the time of Jared. That's right. There's monuments like pyramids that shows a marker where these particular angels are buried in hell. Okay? Now, this is where not only are they getting tormented under sorrow until the judgment, but those who followed their ideologies, religions, and also the courses of their disobedience against our God. They're tormented in their conscience in total darkness perpetually throughout from day to day. And usually what's happening is they're being tormented with their own thoughts. And their thoughts is the greatest thought of all of them is the regret that they had time to embrace the God who can no longer help them in hell. That's the greatest torment above them all, is that there's no repenting there. Now, that's one form of death. Well, the only thing they can look forward to is being thrown in the fire, which is a perpetual pain, at the end of the 1,000-year reign of our King. So think about that.
Okay.
You thirst and never get anything to drink. You hunger and you don't get anything to eat. You're tormented in your mind 24 hours a day if we're dealing with it strictly from the earth times perspective. And the only thing you can look forward to is the fire, where the Most High will put this fire into a perpetual place in an eternity far away where no one will ever see it again, while you're still dealing with the pain and thought of the God you denied while the opportunity presented itself. So that's why it says, that's why the Most High, that's why it tells us that we not to fear man who can just kill the body, but fear God who can kill who?
The soul.
That's right. The body and the soul in hell, which is the second death. There's two deaths.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. Those 70 missing verses, I know I could get them on YouTube, but to get that Bible, I would like to get that. If you could just say where you can get that and let me know.
I'll
if
tell
that's
you,
possible.
a matter of fact, I'll go into it if you're in the academy, but get yourself the Cambridge Annotated Apocrypha.
Okay.
And guess what?
Okay.
They do have a new revised version, so be very careful. There's another version of this without the precepts, though. Who's that? What's the other university? Excuse me, elder lawyer.
Oxford.
The Oxford Annotated Apocrypha. And when you go to 2nd Ezra 7, you'll see the 70 that's missing. Instead of 70, you'll get up to about 140 verses. Okay?
Yeah. Good.
My man.
Good.
My brother.
Elder lawyer, I love his voice. He's got that Don Cornelius voice. I'd like to hear anything he's got to say. So when, he's got anything to say to tell me, I appreciate it.
Oh, my lawyer, that's a new one. Don Cornelius? Listen, we ain't gonna have him go into his Soul Train zone. Don Cornelius with a Mitri. Lord in the morning times.
All right.
What you have to say on that, Elder Lloyd? He wants you to say something real quick.
Okay, in regards to his question, or
what's the question, brother? I guess he's want to hear what you got to say, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I can speak, but I want to know what exactly am I speaking for? Is it in regards to your question, sir?
Yeah, in regards to my question, if you can add to it, that'd be great. I'm sure you guys are on the same page, so I'm just like to hear what you got to say.
Okay. And can you rephrase your question again?
The question was, what happened to the spirit after you die? Do you, is it in torment and then judgment? What is the order of it, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Well, it depends. Okay. Here in the book of Job 14 and 14, it says the following. If a man dies, shall he live again? All the days of my appointed time will I wait. So we know that the prophets, even in the Old Testament, had questions as to what happened after death. And some of that the elder explained. So the prophets understood that after you die, you go to an appointed place for an appointed time. Now, for those who are the righteous, they go to a place called Abraham's bosom. For those who are unrighteous when they die, they go to a place of torments. And both sides are awaiting their change. You can read about that in the book of Luke 16, about Abraham's bosom. Those who are righteous, according to the book of 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter, along with 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, they are risen when Christ returns to be changed. For those who are unrighteous, they await what is called the second death, spoken of in Revelations 20. They must stand before the Most High. I'll read this one last thing very quickly before we move on, because we do have time constraints, but I'll go very quickly to Matthew 25 to show you what happens to those who are awakened at the second death, who are wicked, who are awaiting in torments, to show you their final judgment. In the book of St. Matthew, chapter 25 and 20, I'll start at verse 40 and 41. This will be the last thing. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, you have done it unto me. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, those on the left hand are the wicked, Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. That's the final judgment. Okay?
You got it,
So
my
the
brother?
step is,
Yeah, I got it. I appreciate you guys. I listen to you all the time. I
Bless
just
you.
can't get enough of your old stuff on YouTube anymore, but I keep looking for you.
I'll tell you what. Are you a Patreon member?
No, I am not.
Okay, a lot of the old stuff that's no longer within YouTube rules are on Patreon. Go there. It's inexpensive. I think it's $5 a month. Go there.
Okay.
All right.
And just put in GOCC.
Just go
NYC?
to Patreon/agathering144 and become a Patreon member under our schedule. You'll see it there. Become a member, and hey, you in there, right? And what you do, the proceeds, which is $5 a month, it does help the work. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, my brother.
Glad to talk to you guys. I appreciate it. Come to Kenosha one day.
All right.
Bye.
We're coming. Shalom. Hey, lawyer, you know you're never going to be able to live that Don Cornelius zone down. Hey, brother, I've heard the Barry White of Israelites, but this is something special here.
Yeah, that's a new one.
All right. Woo! All right. I see you, Sunshine. I'm going to bring you in a moment. Kayam has a comment. Lord have mercy. And man, listen, I forgot about old Don Cornelius. I'm about to pull him up in a couple of minutes. And you know how they be trolling, Elder Lawyer. I can see them sitting. I knew it. Illuminati. That's Don Cornelius' son. They gonna have Don Cornelius with Dimitri. You next to it. I know how they gonna do it. And and I'm glad, Elder Lawyer, that the way your camera is framed, I'm glad that they can't see your hand gestures. Right? Sometimes I put my hands up and start moving them around because I know some people around there just want to wait for my hands to be like I'm giving Jay-Z a little code or something. So sometimes I put my hands up. So Ricard Illuminati. They're gonna say I'm Illuminati infiltration, and I got 5 fingers. So sometimes they move around. It be horns and everything else as far as people concerned. So if they mess around, and only thing I'm doing is hand gestures. What do you think they're gonna do with that Don Cornelius voice? So watch out. Oh yeah, Kayim has a comment. Shalom.
Yep, Shalom. That was right.
I laugh at it.
Satan can't cast out Satan, though.
Hey, listen, it's hilarious, man. I'll be seeing some of that stuff out there, boy, and it's like, man, I'm like, boy, do people have time on their hands? I'll tell you what, can Satan cast out Satan? Listen, if I'm working for the other team, if I'm working for the dark side, I'm doing a horrible job. But go on. Let's go.
And it's all praise to the Most High.
Yeah.
Everybody put hearts and clap hands in the chat for these watchmen, because they doing the greatest job on this earth. Elder.
Yes, sir.
And you're right. Great fathers are being forced out the home. And I was just having a talk with a sister the other day about what's going on. And Elder, real quick before I say what I would say, if something happened, can an email be sent out for everybody to go to Patreon? Like, if the internet shut down or they strike the page? I was going to suggest that first.
If something ever happens, right? If something ever happens, I would suggest where if you cannot meet, if they just, God forbid, but if they, higher forbid, they take away our page or whatever, or internet go down or something goes down, if the internet still works in some capacity, you can send an email, agathering144. The worst case scenario, if something happens where you cannot reach us through the internet, I would suggest call 215-253-4448. See if you can reach us through that phone number. All right. I'm going to either way, I'm going to have that number eventually forwarded to my satellite phone so I can be able to contact people, in the rate of an emergency. I can forward that number. You reach me that way. Or we have mail. 2000 Hamilton Street, P.O. Box 946, Philadelphia, PA 19030. You can say, attention, Gathering of Christ Church, important, Elder Ricard, and I'll have the letter almost immediately. Every time I get a letter, I'm notified. Do it that way.
Yes, sir.
So these are the ways that you can actually reach us, all right? And what I would suggest, even on the outside of that, make sure you're in connection with someone within your region. We have regional elders as well as local elders in certain areas, and we have a location in Oklahoma City, all right? So for those in Oklahoma, that's right. We're bringing the church there, ready to go. We're going to be announcing that there's a place to gather in Oklahoma City now. So we suggest you find someone in your locale, your region, and connect with them if you can't reach us, and they'll reach me.
Okay, yes, sir. And Elder, I was going to say, as far as like men, we have no excuses. So we have to do our part in studying and praying 3 times a day and walking the straight path. And Elder, the discussion I had with the sister the other day, it was based upon, because I know you mentioned Captain Samuels. Now,
no. Yeah, that's the wrong zip code.
Yes,
the zip code is 19130. 2000 Hamilton Street, 19130. I'm sorry, let me correct that. Thank you. But go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, yes, sir. So I've heard you mention Kevin Samuels a few times now. Now, Elder, when you teaching, when you all lessons I heard, you come at men like we're men, and we have to take it on the chin. So I know, like, when you go into certain scriptures and it offends, some sisters, I would like them to realize, like, Kevin Samuels, before he passed, he was bringing in thousands of sisters, and he was talking to them straight up and down, like straight at them. and having them, hush and all that. So if they was coming at him for thousands on top of thousands, maybe millions, then everybody that's hearing Christ's doctrine, everybody should come to with the same energy and be willing to hear it and come in the masses and be ready to take correction. You know what I mean? And not take offense to this. So I know you were saying as far as everybody has to be ready for this and not take offense, and that is so key, because it shouldn't be no offense given when it comes to the truth, because it's written before us. This is something that's going to help us get into the kingdom.
Listen, I don't want to push back and give excuses to anyone, right? But men and women are different.
Right.
I mean, even them who couldn't stand Kevin Samuels in private, whether they hated him or whatever the case is, learned something that can benefit their lives, even if they didn't want to say it publicly. But men and women are different. And I'm going to say this. The Bible says, give honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. It's hard for women to adjust when they've made decisions and there's no way they know that they can actually go back and fix that period of time in their lives. And it's hard for them. It's hard for them to accept the fact that they was told to do things right a certain type of way, only to find out that what they were told to do was in reverse of what they should have been told to do. And now they're being blamed for it. I'm not making an excuse for sisters, but if they did everything, some of them went to school to make their families proud and to actually have some resources that the family could be proud of. This is what their parents told them to do. And then through that time, they missed out on a serious period of time where they're only one person and they can only make one choice. And then they're told at the end of their life, like in their middle age, that everything they did was wrong and they can't go back to fix it. In the prime of, really, the fixing for a woman's window is small. She only have a small window to find the right man, have children before what? Before geriatric pregnancy kicks in, where it's hard for her to have children up to 30s and 40s. That's a small window to when you get 40 to realize, okay, I did things in reverse. That's a tough pill to swallow. And then they look at men who've made mistakes, do all these things, right, at an early age, some of the same mistakes they have made, tripped and fell, did all types of wrong, and then men realize their worth at 40 and get upward mobility and become the man at 40 that she thought she would have at 20. So now he done made his mistakes and still able to capitalize past 40 going into 50. It's a double standard, and it's tough for women to say, you know what, I wish I would have made the right decisions in the prime of my life, and I wish someone would have told me that this was the wrong path. Now, women, I'm not making an excuse for all of them, but some women are saying, this is what my mother and father told me to do. And now everyone is saying that I'm wrong. So it's a tough pill to swallow for sisters. They can't satisfy everyone, and it's tough. So when you got someone like Kevin Samuels, others just outright with no consideration for what, for how that affects them. And, in all due respect, I've seen Kevin Samuels help a lot of women. But on the other hand, there have been situations where, it was a tough pill to swallow. Women are being told everything they did was wrong. And they can't take criticism and constructive. They can't take the same things man can take when it comes to criticism and all that. It's hard for them. They just can't. Because why? They don't process it the way we do. We'll process it and say, you know what, okay, my bad, I'll just switch it up. And a woman, on the other hand, multiplied sorrows according to the curse, will go into a state of depression. So what'll just be, a learning moment for us can put her out for a month being depressed. So I'm not making excuses, but we're different. We're different. And this is why I found, this is what used to, brother, intrigue me. How women are very careful of other women's feelings, even if they're wrong.
Oh.
Guess what? Listen, I could never logically wrap my head around it, being a man. But reading the scriptures, it's how women receive the wrong that puts them in a state of depression and emotional turmoil that only women understand. This is why they're careful on how they correct women and all that. There's a fragility thing there that only women understand. And we think they're just trying to give women passes. No, they know that if they said certain things, how harmful it can be for a person's psyche under certain circumstances, right? And I'm just being respectful on either side, because right now, because what I'm saying is, at first, it was the woman's side through the social engineering where it was okay to attack men, especially black men. And that didn't feel too good. And now here we are where now it's okay, according to the corporate structure, to attack black women. They just swung the pendulum. But at the end of the day, it's still us on either side not coming together. And that's a problem. Okay? Thank you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bless you.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Bless you.
Someone says women are not that fragile. Women are strong. They're strong according to what? According to their purpose. Right? They're strong in certain instances. And I'm not giving women excuses. What I'm saying is the Bible says give honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. She can't hold the weight of a man. And that's just the reality of it. (405) area code. 405.
Hello, Elders, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine. It is a blessing to hear you both.
Bless you, my brother.
I am in Oklahoma City. And when you said that it is a church happening in Oklahoma City, that just made me so happy.
Oh, yeah, we have one in Oklahoma City. Absolutely.
Oh, my. So I want to get on point with degeneracy at the end of the rainbow.
Okay.
I work in corporate America, and I see the rainbow happening so much in this month of June. And it's promoted, it's proud, but if I was ever to go in and say, in English version, God over everything, or Ahaya over everything, I'd be in HR office. I done seen the girl walk past me in the hall with a pentagram on her belt buckle. No one has said anything. But if I was to say God over everything, Ahaya over everything, I'll be in the office. So I just want to say to y'all, keep on pushing it. I've been following y'all. A brother turned me on back in the days. He said, we had a debate about King James. And I was brought in to all that deceitfulness regarding King James, homosexual, incestuous, all that. And when I learned from you all and seeing who King James was, And that was a long, long, long time ago, like about 10 years ago. So I've been following you all for a long time. I've seen you all come from where you are. I mean, from where you were then until you are now. And I have seen the blessings. I have seen everything that the Most High have bestowed on y'all. And it's just magnificent. It is truly magnificent. I've seen, I mean,
all praise be to the Most High.
Elder Ricard, I saw your bushy head, buggy-eyed, to right now. You know what I'm saying? I done been in a couple of academies. Forgive me. It's just been a couple. But the knowledge that you guys bestowed back then towards now, I don't know if you all want to have just a blog talk about that, you know, because you all have bestowed a lot of knowledge. And all praises to Ahaya, by Hashem Yeshaya.
Thank you, my brother.
It is a blessing.
Thank you. Bless you.
This is my first time talking to you all.
Okay, well.
And then to hear that you all have a church happening in Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah. Here we come.
I am there.
All right, brother. I can't wait to meet you.
I am there.
And remind me of this call
So
the next time I see you.
That's all I wanted to say.
All right, bless you. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
So that's all I wanted to say.
All right.
Thank you.
And let me make it clear, though, right? I don't want anyone, especially brothers out there, to think that we're dealing with any form of pandering. Okay. You know, I think Umar, so-called Johnson, is doing enough of that for all men who exist, okay? Right? And this is why we brought out this today of the women that were on at the castle where our foreparents were taken in Ghana to be enslaved, and showed these women that's out there and thought it would be a good choice to get up there and show their behinds without shame. Okay, so we're not pandering, right? But we know that there's a segment of our community, and I grew up in North Philly. There's a segment of our community who are predominantly women who isn't going to listen to anything a man have to say. So when I talk about give honor to women as a weaker vessel, I'm not saying give women passes who are destroying the image of the daughters of Zion. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there got to be enough women and mothers to stand up to correct this. Because here's the reality. There's a segment of women who will only listen to other women. And then there's another segment who won't listen to anyone. There's some women who stay quiet when it comes to correcting other women to avoid a conflict or a fight. We know that all exists. But these particular women who don't want correction, guess what, folks? Nothing can prepare them for the amendment that's coming. Because at the end of the day, you're going to listen to somebody. And if the Most High send men and you don't listen to them, send other women who care about you and there's no listening to them, you know what? He sends something that, you know what? You will bow and listen to. Even if it's the jackboots coming from the other countries to knock open your doors with no man around to have you submit. The only thing we're doing here through the spirit of love, through the spirit of scripture and understanding is to do what? Is to put it out there through word to say, take heed to the warning and the admonishment that's coming through the word while you still have an opportunity to make choices. Because when the Most High send the judgment, there is no choice. It's just the judgment. So let me make that clear. And I wanted to put that out there. This is the nonsense we had to deal with. This is nonsense. And there's women out there who won't take correction from anyone and are goaded on by the girlfriends around her to disrespect women's image. And it's time for enough sisters to stand up and say, you know what? Enough is enough. Before YouTube, before Instagram, we understood that this subculture existed in our community, but at least it was hidden away for no one to see. But we always knew this existed, but at least it was hidden away, you know, within the crevices of the inner cities. But now that they won't keep it just where it, you know, where it actually began or cultivated from, now that it's on public display, it's time for women to say enough is enough. It's going to take a lot of women correcting these women, I'm going to tell you. Or don't worry about it. China have a whole army of men. That's in a lot of these areas that's going to actually take care of a lot of this. There's some men that some of these people are going to listen to. Watch. Talia has a question.
Shalom, elders, can you hear me?
Yes, how are you, Talia?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm blessed by the best. Talia, can you,
first off,
sister, can you believe this? Can you believe that there would be some people who would get a passport and travel into Africa at the castle where our people were taken captive, never to see their homeland again? And to celebrate this, they'll go to this same Amina Castle in Ghana, only to get up there and start pole dancing without poles.
Yeah, it's definitely saddening.
It's sad. It's sad.
Can you hear me still?
Yes, I'm listening. Because I'm going to tell you this.
So,
I like to say this,
sister,
before you go. Let me tell you. Brothers know that when like I have a passport. Brothers know when we travel to other countries that we ought to learn the culture to some degree and understand where the lines are. Okay? We understand that we can't go, even if there is a subculture in the United States, that the thugs and all that happens here. You can get the thuggest of thugs going into Egypt or Middle East or Dubai or to Africa, and they know to act on their best behavior. Because the jails over there are unforgiving. So this is what happens when you have what? When you have a subculture within our culture that have never been corrected. This is what happens. They believe that in their mind that the world accepts this. Because there's no consequence. They can do it and still survive afterwards. We know that we go out acting a fool in another country, there's a dungeon with dirt floors waiting someplace. But I digress. Let's go. Let's talk.
Well, thank you for giving me a chance to come on here. That's one thing. It's an honor right now to even hear your voice and, to see you on the screen right now.
Thank you.
I'm kind of freaking out a little bit, trying to calm down.
Bless you.
So I do have the question I do have is, I've been in the truth for a while now, and I've done my best I'm not perfect, but I'm continuing to, study and observe the Sabbath, and very close to my stepdad. He's in the truth. He continues to guide me. However, I do have a question. I know we talk about the women who are, like the women in them videos twerking and doing things.
Yeah.
But the other side is, what about the women who are trying their best? And I have a boyfriend right now who I'm in a relationship with.
Yeah.
And I see him as my husband. But he just sees me as a girlfriend right now because I'm honoring the fact that, by law,
Well,
he will be husband.
Let's reel that back. Who decides when a man is a husband and a woman is a wife? Who decides that?
I would say my dad.
It's the man. It's the man who goes to your dad and asks for your hand in marriage. It's the man. It's the man decides whether or not he's going to be a husband, and the woman he chooses will be his wife. The woman is not the one who can decide, well, I see him as a husband, but really he sees me as a girlfriend. See, and this is where fathers come in. Because you can't see him as a husband with him not being a husband. A father's come in. This is where fathers step in and say, well, no, young lady. You are what you're doing in this relationship with him. And that's acceptable for him. And a father comes in and states it's not acceptable for me. And he goes speak to him and says, you know what? You're going to make my daughter a respectable woman.
Wow.
That's where father steps in and says, you're going to make my daughter a respectable woman. Do you respect her or not?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is,
that makes a lot of sense.
How old are you?
28.
So here's the issue. And this is what's going to grow resentment. This is where resentment is going to grow. You'll give this man the better part of your prime in life with you believing that he's a husband while he's seeing you as a girlfriend. And you're given all the benefits that come with you being his wife. When if he believes that you're not his wife and you're just a girlfriend to him, while you're doing all these things, when he get in position to get the wife he wants, he's going to choose her. And you're going to say, he cheated on me. And now the resentment grows. Now every man you meet after that have to pay for you believing that he was your husband.
Yeah.
So no. You can't believe that. He have to be in position to have you believe you his wife by making you his wife.
So this can't go off of just hopes and desires of, him telling me he wants to do that one day. It just has to be
He want to do that one day, okay. And you can make it sure and say, listen, well, when that one day come, hit me up. Because I'm not here.
I got you.
You're not here. You're too valuable. You too valuable to be a placeholder until he find the woman he wants. Because if he want you, you would be his what?
His wife.
I know that's hard, and some women think that, okay, I have to facilitate this in hopes that he's going to become something one day that I hope. But this is what you're going to waste time. That's what you're going to do, and then you're going to resent men because of it. Okay? Listen, a man marries who he wants to be his wife. And fathers used to have this hard talk with daughters. Because it's so hard to find a good woman, men don't let his wives just walk away. So this is why fathers came in and fathers had the ultimatum. You're not going to play with her like this in the prime of her life. Okay, you're not going to do this. Because now a good man is going to come after this, not saying he's not good, but he's indecisive at best. So if he's indecisive, what's going to happen with you? What's going to happen with you is he's going to do what he's going to do, but then the wife you've always dreamed of, one day going to walk by, it's going to change your life forever. Because you're going to say, this is the things I did as a wife. right? He cheated on me.
Yeah,
He this, he's that. And you're going to start blaming men when it was you who gave yourself over until he was able to find what he was looking for. And that's just a harsh reality. Men will do that. So you have to solidify.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so you have to solidify your security. You have to secure yourself while you're still in the position to be able to get a man who would appreciate you.
Yeah.
You don't want to get used up.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you don't want to get used up and have this man use up all what you have, your femininity, your femininity. You are agreeable, you're humble, and guess what? It's nothing for someone to hurt you and change you, that will change you into the worst version of yourself. So while you still have some power, decisions have to be made. Where
I definitely appreciate that.
Right? Some decisions have to be made. Don't be sitting around hoping.
I'm not gonna lie.
Don't be sitting around hoping that a man is going to be something other than he is. Men are who they are. Men are simple creatures and rarely change. Men are very simple. And that's one of the greatest mistakes women make, is to sit around and think that a man is going to change. And I'm not saying he's a bad man. He might not be ready or whatever the case is. Okay.
Yeah.
But how much are you going to use up of yourself until he comes around, if ever? That's up to you. And guess what? If it doesn't work out, you cannot blame him.
Yep.
If you sit around and wait, and he never listen. If you sit around and wait, and years go by, and the best part of your years are gone, don't get up 35 and 40 and blame him for why you resent men. Okay? If you know the Most High,
I definitely hear you.
If you know the Most High in Christ and the Bible, you know the rules. Okay?
I appreciate that. And
all right.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm holding back tears right now because it's like you just explained my whole life. You don't even know me, so yeah. I really appreciate that.
I'm just saying, sister. I'm just saying. All right.
Thank you, and thank you to both of you guys. I appreciate everything you guys do. Me and my best friend, one of my other friends, she's 30, and we both came into the truth a while ago, and man, it's been life changing. So we appreciate you guys.
Well, we appreciate you, sister, and always stay in that same spirit, that humble, loving, feminine, agreeable spirit that's hard to find. And I hope through the Spirit of the Most High that brother appreciate who you are and what you are to him. All right. I really pray that's the point. But don't waste your time in this instance. And I'm not saying to rush him or try to move him into something and all that. Deal with the reality of what it is. Deal with the reality of what it is. And where's your father? Have you gotten him involved?
Yes, it's my stepdad. So he did get involved, but my boyfriend doesn't really like going over right now and talking to him about the truth because my dad believes in the truth, and my boyfriend right now, he's in a position where he doesn't believe the Bible's real and different things like that, and so it's kind of hard to have them interact right now.
Oh, you said the man you with, the one you're a wife to, but not a husband to you. He doesn't believe the truth now.
Yeah, so no, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Lord, I'll tell you what. Okay, where's your father at?
I live in Dallas area, and so he lives in Bonham, Texas.
It's time for you to get the man in your life, the man you look up to, involved for direction and counsel. Because only a man, and I'm going to use the word, can hip you to how men think at a certain age. Only men can do that. Okay, only men can do that. Okay, and so many times women listen to other women concerning men. That's okay. You can always, any information you can always use and filter. But I'm going to tell you, only men can give you the breakdown of another man at a certain age and tell you exactly what he wants, what he's going to do, and what his trajectory is. And a man can break down another young man quickly. And I know that's some hard, listen, that's some hard truths that a man who can see what other men are, because a man can point out what you already know, but have compartmentalized and hid in hopes he'll become something else.
Mm-hmm.
But only a man can say you're deceiving yourself. You're creating the man you want when he's someone's different. So you then compartmentalize all the things, all the red flags, and you have accepted this man you made for yourself, in hopes that he's gonna be 2 feet in with the truth, with the Bible, have you be his wife. You've created a whole nother man outside of who he is for yourself. He is who he is. And if you think if you think it's tough now, wait till you really get up into the word and you claim that he doesn't believe the Bible. He thinks, let me tell you, you are hitting a hornet's nest. Because I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. The last thing a man wants and resents more than anything is that another man is respected in the eyes of his woman outside of him. And this is how he's going to perceive you listening to these videos. He don't believe in the Bible. He don't believe in God. And now you honor what these guys are saying. And you know what? Because he can't say anything against us or in anything, and you honor and respect us, guess where it all is going to be taken out on? On the only person that he can take it out on, and that's you.
Man, I got nothing else to say. I'm just listening.
Sister, just pray. Get your father involved, and he'll tell you.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you, but I think you already know. I think you already know where this is going.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
I appreciate your time and for letting me take up a little bit of time. So
all right.
You.
All right. Bless you, sister. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Tangela has a comment.
Shalom, elders.
Shalom, how are you?
Great. Thank you for taking my call. Elder, I just wanted to talk and just tell you a situation that my family went through regarding this hobby tonight with, them coming for the children. A few weeks ago, my daughter came back home because she was, it's hard out here. So she came home 39 weeks pregnant. And she moved back in with my husband and I. I've been in the truth for going on 6 years. He's been in the truth about 4. And she was with us for like 3 weeks before she actually gave birth. So she was going into her 42nd week. So we decided for her to go into the hospital to get checked to make sure the baby was fine and everything. So we got to the hospital. They kept her. They induced her labor. When any women first go into the hospital, they automatically test them for drugs and any type of, to make sure that their body's okay for the baby, for the delivery. So we were in the hospital 5 days, Elder. My daughter gave birth by cesarean section 2 days after that we were there. Because she wasn't progressing, they did cesarean section. An hour before they gave her a cesarean section, Elder, they gave her what is the stuff that they give the elderly people when they're in hospice? Morphine. They gave her morphine. So they went ahead and took her, prepped her, took her back, started, proceeded with her C-section.
Okay.
They delivered the baby.
Okay, so I got to be careful with all this because they're careful.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure you stay within whatever parameters they have on YouTube without it, because you're just giving me your experience. Because morphine is sometimes used as it's used as a pain reliever as well as a sedative to a
Right.
degree to get
Yes.
people through things. But go on. I'm listening.
Yes, sir. So this is how they used it against her because prior to her going to the hospital, because we've been in the truth and we've heard all of your teachings. We're so thankful for all of your teachings and you giving us all of the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we need when we encounter the medical system. My husband had already told her, like, okay, this is what's going to happen when you go. This is what they're going to try to make you do. This is what they're going to try to encourage you to do. Be aware, stand your ground, don't bend, don't let them try to encourage you to do anything else. So with that being said, she rejected.
Oh, let me ask you this question. Are you saying before the baby was delivered, they gave her that?
Yes. That while she was laboring, right before they got ready to take her back and prep her for the C-section, they gave her that to ease the pain, allegedly.
Oh, okay, go on. I mean, is this something that your daughter agreed to, or?
Yeah, she agreed to because she was in so much pain and she
Okay.
wasn't progressing with the labor, so she did agree to it.
All right, well,
But they used it against her eventually.
What you mean they use it against her? What do you mean?
So she was released from the hospital once the baby was unborn, 3 days afterwards. We took the baby to her 2-day appointment. The physicians and I, we got into kind of a debate in the office about, the recommended hospital juices and this and that and other. He decided to let her know that he couldn't be the baby's physician because we rejected the juices and all that stuff. So in our conversation, as we were getting the baby ready to leave the doctor's office, he says to my daughter and me, wouldn't you rather her, because I was telling him about, through research and teachings, we've come to know that, those juices, give kids, the different autism and all these different things.
Oh,
and this doctor says to me,
sister, I think
this
you made
doctor
it.
says to me,
I think, hold up. I think
wouldn't you rather?
Listen, I'm listening to you. Go ahead. I mean, I think you made a grave mistake in trying to make political stances within a hospital, usually, or a doctor's office. I'm gonna let you go ahead, but usually, what you don't want to get into those type of conversations like that. You really don't. You don't want to tell them about a belief and this is what this stuff does. It's called being wise as serpents, harmless as doves. And there's a such thing, sister, as informed consent.
Yes.
Informed consent means, oh, I'm not disagreeing with anything. Okay? I'm just going to get more data to make an informed decision. And that's
eventually what my daughter told him. That's eventually what she did tell him, yes.
I understand that. But you have to be careful arguing what some of the adverse things are online and all these other things, what people have told you, because they are versed in, and now they'll go into another phase of
Elder, that's just what they did. You called it. That's just what they did. Oh my goodness.
And what is this phase?
So, the doctor says to me in the office that day, wouldn't we rather the child have the juices than wouldn't we rather have the child have autism than not have the juices?
Okay, I'll tell you. Listen, sister, this conversation is going into some gray areas. So let's do this. I would like to pick up this whole conversation in Patreon tomorrow if you call in. If you can call in during Patreon time around 2:30.
Okay.
Because I'm going to have Truman Burst on tomorrow, where he's going to be taking calls on those who may be dealing with some certain issues, and he's going to be talking about herbal remedies and all that.
The baby is fine. The baby doesn't have anything, or nothing was ever done to the baby. The baby's fine.
I understand, but there's another phase you want to talk about, and right now, I believe that when we come on the broadcast, the guidelines changes. I believe it's allegedly or probably the guidelines changes as it goes. I don't know what we can say here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So please,
yes, sir.
Let's talk tomorrow about it, and I'll help you through it. All right?
Yes, sir.
On Patreon.
Yes, sir.
Thank
you.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
And those are the 3 letters that Elder Dell put up. And you know what? Usually that's where they go. So those 3 letters, watch out. Hide your kids, hide your wife. 619 area code.
Hello, can you hear me? You hear me okay?
Yes.
Hey, I'm in here in San Diego, and I was wondering if you happen to see the new Carl's Jr. commercial for the new burger they have. Around the country, they call the company Hardy. You might have heard of Hardy. You familiar with that?
All right, what you say?
I was asking if you heard of the new Carl's Jr. burger that they have. If you've seen the commercial for the new burger, you might know the company as Hardy.
Oh no, what are the commercials for the new burgers?
The burger is called the Diablo Burger, which means the devil burger. And guess how much it costs?
$6.66.
$6.06. Exactly. $6.66. And they got Charlies running around all over the city that says El Diablo is back.
And check this out. El Diablo, when it comes to the game, a lot of that came out during the time when the smoke and some of the fires happened. Coincidentally, the same time that the fires were going on, it was an introduction to the world. It was introducing Diablo to the world. There's something I want to show. I'm going to show that tomorrow, brother. And what they're really, what they're telling the world is that Satan is no longer behind the veil. He's operating frontal with his ministers that we see throughout all of these agendas. Right on. I'm going to make sure we begin the broadcast of our updates with that before transitioning into Truman. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
All right. All right. Okay, well, right now I'm at the very end. I'm sorry if I didn't take your call. Please call in tomorrow. I'll have it up around 2 to 3 o'clock. And 2 to 3 o'clock, we'll have you on. I can take one more call. Tisha been waiting about an hour. So I'm going to take that call, and then I'll bring in Sunshine. She's been waiting from the beginning. Tisha.
Hi, praise.
How you doing,
Well,
Tisha?
excuse me, Shalom. Yes, I'm new in the truth, maybe like 3 months.
Okay.
I'll be taking my third baptism class next this Saturday coming.
All praises.
And I know God's been good to me. I'm visually impaired. I had 5 open head surgeries. The Lord blessed me to carry with my daughter with my brain exposed. But I have a question. I've been married for 7 years, right? And basically, my husband, he don't know word, he don't know anything. And me, I'm the type was like, Lord, I want somebody that can help me in my walk, somebody that can teach me, to walk the way that I'm supposed to walk. He can't even lead, and not to put him down or anything
all
like
right.
that.
Oh, sister, let's back it up. Let's reel it back for 1 second.
Okay.
Right? And I'm going to tell you why I can't allow you to do that and say, and publicly put a man down and all that, because there's 2 sides to a story. And the next thing is this. What should I be focused on? How this man isn't nothing. This man isn't up to par, as you stated. Should I be focusing on that man, or should I be focusing on you who chose that man?
Right.
So listen, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying your choice is wrong. What I'm saying is, when you put these things out about him, you have to understand what you're saying about yourself too. So be careful not to do that, because others who are listening aren't hearing exactly what you are conveying. They're hearing, okay, his man is not about nothing, This man is this. This man is that. And some people will sit there and listen and say, well, okay. So when did she find this out? And if this man is all this and don't meet your standards or measure up, then why did you choose him?
Okay, that's what I'm about to get to. Like I knew him for a long time, and he had a crush on me. But I'm gonna say, like in 2016, we had, clicked up or whatever, and we were doing things that was not pleasing in God's sight. So that's why I had to make that choice. Fornication.
Okay. So what you're saying is, outside of the physical parts, the physical connection, you always knew that he didn't fit the requirements of a man that you would follow.
No, at the time, no. Until we got further along, I started seeing certain things. But I'm going to say one thing, anytime I needed him to do anything or whatever it is, he would do that.
Okay,
but now,
answer the question what I'm asking though, because it doesn't take me like a man, right?
Right.
There was a certain status in growing up in school and all that, where we would, even though it was from a worldly perspective, you met him in the world, where we would, men, especially the educated or the smarts who were in the school, would deem girls who weren't all that, put together on the brain side, I'm saying that loosely, we would call them in the world dumb blondes. Right? See, and that was a time when Three's Company was out. Three's Company. I don't know if I'm saying my age. And they had this girl, Chrissy, who was a dumb blonde. Now, even though a man is physically attracted to a girl, he know her mental makeup and understand that that's who she is in the world. There's no way a woman who's usually steps ahead of men, maturity-wise, when it comes to relationships at an earlier age, don't know when she's dealing with a man who's not mentally up to par. So when you're saying that you found out later that he wasn't mentally up to par, so let me put it this way, right? This is what's going on. There's a lot to this story that only he can fill out. That he have to, he's not here to defend himself or to state his views of how this relationship happened. But I can tell you this. Is what you're saying is that now you got the truth and you're about to be baptized, that you're looking to move on from him being unfit? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, let me explain that. Okay, so I was telling him to come into the truth or whatever. So it's like he didn't really wanted to do that because, whatever he do. And then one time we were talking, oh, well, I don't, the God you believe in and, all of this other stuff. I go to this other church on Sundays and I'm like, okay, what are they teaching you? Or do you know your Bible? Do you know scripture or whatever? And he's like, oh, well, he can't debate because he don't know the word. So, yes, I'm in the truth. And, my thing is like, God, I want to live according to your word, how you have me to live. And yes, I did pray and was like, Lord, I made a mistake. I did pray that in the beginning, but it was like, okay, God, do I leave this man? Because my thing is, okay, when I said when I get married, I wanted to get married one time and one time only.
Okay.
I have a
How
brother.
old are you?
He's been with him. I'm going to be 53 November the 6th.
Okay. How long have you been with him?
Yeah. I've been with him from 2016.
So that's how many years? What, 9 years?
7 years. No, 2016. That's 7 years.
Oh, excuse me, 7 years. I'm sorry. 7 years. You said 2016.
Yes,
All right. 2016.
16, yeah.
All right. 2016. Y'all have children?
No, but I do have 3 kids.
Okay, do you live with them?
I have 3 kids. Yes, they're here with me. One of my sons, he helps me because
No,
I
I'm
said,
asking you.
like I told you,
I'm asking you. Does the man that you are with?
Oh no, no.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well,
No.
those instances are dealt with on a local level. Usually, what happens when you come into the church to be baptized, at that point, you are at a what we would call single or married status. Now, if y'all never got married in the world, initially when you come in, you're single. Okay? Now, what happens is there will be a conversation on what your relationships are and what you're seeking to do going forward. Right? That's how that works. Now, when people are married in the church now, even if they're not married in the world, we have what we call a church certificate of union. Where if you're coming into a church with a person, it must be agreed with two or more witnesses with that leader in charge that you sign a union that you're with someone. This way, it doesn't get twisted or confused going forward. Where you don't carry your broken relationship or whatever it is into the church and cause chaos. When you are saying you're not with this man and he may still believe you're his woman, and now you will bring that into a church where a man in the church may desire to be with you. So listen, those things have to be straightened out from the beginning, and the Bible says do all things in writing. If y'all not together, then it's a non-conversation. If y'all not together, he's not living with you, then it's a non-conversation. You're coming into the church single, but something tells me there's more to this than what you're saying, or you wouldn't be saying it.
Yeah, there is a lot more, because I told him I wanted to be that wife. He has daughters, and I said I wanted to be there to help you with your younger daughter, and I wanted to love you and be there and do the things that I'm supposed to do as a wife. But like, if you going on acting me, I don't like foolishness. Okay. That's one thing I don't tolerate. I try to help him with the word.
Listen, sister, but the whole thing is, right now, and y'all probably at a point of disagreement in your relationship, and it's probably not the first time you've been there. So I would say let's not make a definitive decision on anything right now. You said you're going to be baptized. Get with the elder and deacon in the church who's over your, and get a council where you both can make a decision on going forward. Okay?
We already did that, and I spoke to one of them because I'm in the body in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did speak to someone there because one of the classes was on baptism.
But sister,
one of the classes was on marriage.
Sister, what I'm trying to do is limit this to the locale. Okay. Right? Because we had a situation that was erroneously publicized not too long ago, where you had 2 people who met each other in the world. A guy brings a woman into the church, and we don't even know what's going on because they weren't married. Okay.
I heard that.
Yeah. And then she made it clear from the beginning that this ain't what she wanted, but there was this wild thing out there that if we slept together in the world and come into the truth, we are married, when there's no agreement, no paperwork, no family agreement or nothing. And it's only a ball of confusion when people come in with that mentality. All right. So there's no way to act. And what happens is people drag their incomplete scenarios into the church and make it a church matter. So this is why now, the way we do this is you go to your locale with the witnesses involved, including him, to get to the bottom of what this relationship is, if it's a relationship at all. And at that point, No, listen though. You're trying to still convince me of what it is. This is not the place for it. At your locale, this is where it's handled. All right?
Mhm. Okay, so what if he don't want to come? Because I already have papers and everything is notarized.
Well, sister, listen, that's something you have to deal with on the level.
Yeah.
I can't answer that right now because there's there's no way right now for me to hear his side.
Mhm.
So that's unfair to him. Okay?
Mhm.
All right. So welcome to the truth. And I'm sure the elders, the bishops over there will handle this and help you towards gathering with the church. All right?
Yes.
All right. Bless you and welcome to the body. Shalom. All right.
Thank you, and I appreciate you taking my call.
All right.
Thank you.
Boy, she have that deep New York accent. I'll tell you that. Sunshine, let's go.
Hello?
Uh-huh.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hi! Hi, Elder. Hi.
Hi, Sunshine. Let's go.
Hi. Okay.
Come on, I gotta eat some food, girl. Come on.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, Elder. Oh, wow. Okay, this hot mess social degradation is what we've progressively been subjected to as men, women, and children, some of which have been destroyed for lack of knowledge, and the brazen mindset that we today come to see in long-standing patience for years that the wicked have strategized against us, those trying to do good. They who desire to collapse righteousness have chipped and chiseled away at our fortitude to stand, our finances to invest in ways to protect our children from wolves in sheep's clothing. And when the wolves, act in and outside of their areas, and their closets. I don't know if I can say that, and also against the majority of wedded families in the world, and they also found clever ways to lean against our moral compass and clear understanding of what's right and wrong according to God, and they did this moral confusion through series of infiltrations via the churches or the houses of Rome with ready-made hirelings, handlers, where Israel mostly resided and cleaved to for years, being spiritual naturally, and also through their activism, lobbing themselves onto our once conservative Black communities by claiming a minority status while bringing into our areas their filthy bags of medical agendas and liberal acceptances against children and towards their sacrifice, and bringing in our into our lives other various opinions that are adversarial against God and what God said is man and woman, or is righteous coming together, or is the way we should all operate onto judgment, which is the ones that we all have to die and then the judgment. But what's left is, after all this is said and done, the masses are corrupted into the delusional badge of do as thou wilt. No one can tell them what to do. And even if they were told, one rose from the dead, they would believe, having the law of Moses, and they chose the badge in shameless reprobateness, and would also go as far as to dance on the blood of castles and graves of those who suffer for the nation that's divided and cannot stand. And because of the hive mindset is now as those climbing up the Tower of Babel and blindly or willfully for Satan's silly quest, these of the wide road to destruction are cold and unshakable and immovable onto destruction, and are unfishable but ready to be hunted wide open and unprotected. But just like that, Tower of Babel didn't stand, or Sodom and Gomorrah didn't stand, or Egypt didn't stand, or Jericho, this new world chaos tower will also fall at the end. And the false rainbow, what they hijacked, their nakedness of their lives and their deceitful hearts will be shown. And while these are put underfoot, a very remnant standing in purpose according to Ahia will be that light in Christ that shines, that will not be hidden under a bushel. And by grace of Ahia, with the rod of iron, true order will again be restored. And these who finally see will finally see the devil and their deceiver with his fallen 1/3 and more. They'll finally realize that that panhandler has conned them out of their immortal souls, and by grace we will stand in righteousness and praise the Most High.
There it is.
That's all I wanted to say, Elder. Praise the Lord.
Bless you. Well, thank you, sister. Thank you. You always bring some key insights.
Thank you for using
And
Blog
may the
Talk
Most
Radio.
High be with you.
Goodbye.
Stay prayed up, sin not. See you, Elder Lawyer. Have a great evening. You can chime in on Patreon if you would like tomorrow, Elder Lawyer. And keep in mind, we all have a choice not to fall to the satanic degeneracy that have become Babylon. Thank you, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Shalom.
Shalom. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up. See you tomorrow on Patreon. And keep in mind, the Most High is calling back the children of Israel. Blessings. Ahai is calling back Israel. Shalom. HistoryTimes.org, tracing the serpent seed, this coming Sunday. Enroll week 2. Shalom.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Bali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. A highest gathering.